Hey guys, it's Josh. Welcome to Youth Night. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. As we get started, we are going to play a little game of Christmas Would You Rather. And to play along, you're going to need to pull up that chat box. So get that pulled up. You can also play along with anyone around you. And as we get started, let's do a little Would You Rather Christmas style. hello and welcome to Youth Night. My name is Josh and I will be your host for our show tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us however you are. We are so glad that you are here tonight. It is December, which means that it is finally Christmas season. And hopefully you are feeling the spirit of the holidays a little bit. My family, we are so excited for Christmas that we have already put up 2 trees. We're that excited. One real, one fake, just to cover our bases and everything. But we got the lights up, and it is beginning to look a lot like Christmas. So, hey, thank you for joining us. As we get started, I just want to give you a few announcements. Here we go. All right, announcements.
What?
As always, make sure you are following us on social media, either the tribe or the annex, so you can stay up to date with everything going on. You know I'm going to tell you to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for being a part of Youth Night. So we have some incredible things coming up in regards to Christmas parties. We're doing it 2 ways. One, on Sunday, December 13th, that's just in 1 week, we are doing an in-person Christmas party here at church. This is for middle school and high school. They're separate, but at the same time, 6:30 to 8:30 at the church. Make sure to dress up in your favorite Christmas gear, whatever that looks like. And for a gift exchange, middle schoolers bring a wrapped candy, and high schoolers bring our classic socks and cereal. You don't need to sign up. This is totally free, and you are encouraged to invite and bring friends. Can't wait to see you here at church next Sunday. But that is not all. We also are having the first ever Youth Night Live Christmas special. That's right, it's an online Christmas party happening live on YouTube on a special night, Wednesday, December 16th at 7 o'clock. We're going to have so much fun together. We're giving away hundreds of dollars in prizes. It is going to be fun and memorable, and we can't wait for you to join us there. All right, coming up next, it is the clip of the week. This one I just stumbled across on YouTube from a random church account. Hope you guys like it. Check it out.
With COVID, there's kind of 2 camps. One camp is the people that are a little concerned about everything that's taken place, and then there's another side that's just over it. And I dedicated this song to, well, both of you. Deck the halls with disinfectant, fa la 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 la. Kids can't touch their Christmas presents, fa la 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 la. Down we know COVID apparel, fa la 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 la. Your economy's in peril, fa la 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 la. And for those of you who are over it, who cares about the disinfectant? Fa la 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 la. I even licked my Christmas presents. Fa la 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 la. Wearing masks is so obscene. Fa la 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 la. Now I have been quarantined. Fa la 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 la.
All right, what is up, everybody? You know what time it is. It's game time, and if you came to play, you came to the right place. Today we're going to be doing a game that's similar to something we've done in the past, where we're going to put up a Christmas phrase, fill it in, sort of like Hangman, and you're going to have to guess. It's going to go letter by letter, and the first person to guess or type it in the chat or yell it at home in front of everyone is the winner. And we have some incredibly super dope Liddy prizes for you if you're willing to participate. So, be ready for it, and I hope the best of luck to you, and happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas. All right, and now time for the first one. Dashing through the snow. Who doesn't love running through the snow and slipping and then realizing you're in the yellow snow? Oh, my personal favorite, lemonade. Haha, that's what they told me and I drank it. Anyways, off to number 2. "12 Days of Christmas," gotta love it. That reminds me of when my sister at 6 years old told me that she wanted to have 12 biological children of her own. Yeah, fun fact for you guys. Anyways, down to number 3. Underneath the mistletoe, that's where you're gonna find me in Brooklyn if you're looking for us. I mean, intern Brooklyn. Don't come looking for us. Anyways, down to number 4. And that's right, a good old one-horse open sleigh queen, yas! Okay, number 5. That's right, baby in a manger. Or if you're like me, just a simple kid from the mountains, you call it pigs in a blanket. Doesn't matter what you call it, little smoky. If you're religious, yeah, baby in a manger. It's a fun name for a little hot dog that's wrapped up in some breading. Anyways, number 6. That's right, tisk, tisk, tisk. If you're on the naughty list, then you're going to cease to exist. And you might get Christmas frisked. That's right, that's some bars for you. Anyways, on to number 7. Who doesn't love watching Christmas movies? I know I do. I'm the biggest fan of Christmas movies. It's my favorite thing. Yes, let's watch another Hallmark movie that definitely doesn't have the same ending or plot line or people coming home and falling in love with the person that they met when they were 5 years old at kindergarten. Yeah. Number 8. Feliz Navidad, da, 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 da. Feliz Navidad, da, 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 da. Feliz Navidad, prospero año y felicidad. Da, 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 da. No sombrero for this one, but anyways, we're gonna toss it over to number 9. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. I've never tried them, but I'm sure they're decent. I've never roasted nuts either, but I mean, I'm sure that they're delicious and chock full of protein. So anyways, with that being said, we're back at it again at number 10. good old gingerbread houses. I love how they taste like cardboard after you make them and eat them, and then you're like, what's the point of making it edible if it's not really tasty? Anyways, thank you so much for playing along. Comment down below how many you got right, and thanks for your participation. Now it's time for a message. So let's do it.
I spend most of my life trying to keep my expectations low. I'm not trying to be super depressing, but sometimes I say the happiest and healthiest people are those whose expectations meet reality, which basically just means if you keep expectations low, you're more likely to have them met. And when that happens, you're more likely to be happy, or at least not living disappointed at all times. Now, there's one area of my life where I find this nearly impossible to do: Christmas. I want to have low expectations for Christmas, but there's something about this season where I just can't do it. Every year at Christmas, I simply want it to be the best one I've ever had. My expectations about what I want to have and what I want to feel at Christmas can be, well, movie-like. Christmas has this power over me where I just want to have all the feelings, all the food, all the decorations, all the sentimental movies, especially all the friends and all the family, and all the stuff that the Christmas season could possibly offer. I want every Christmas, including the one we're about to celebrate, to be the best Christmas ever. The rest of the year, I may be Mr. Low Expectations, but this time of the year, I turn into Buddy the Elf. Maybe you feel this way too. Your family hasn't gone 5 minutes without arguing in 10 years. But at Christmas, you imagine sitting around the Christmas tree, listening to music and drinking hot cocoa, smiling sweetly at each other. Or maybe any other time of the year, you're totally fine being single, but at Christmas, you just daydream about your crush showing up at your doorstep on Christmas Eve with a present so perfect you couldn't have asked for anything better. Something about Christmas makes us dream big, raise our expectations, and imagine having the best Christmas ever. But our expectations are hardly ever met at Christmas, right? Something is bound to disappoint us. And because we expect so much, the disappointment hurts that much more. Which is why, like I said at the beginning, I try to keep expectations in all of life low. Think about it. If you think your team is going to lose the football game, and then they lose, it's easier to take the loss than if you were convinced they were going to win. If you're waiting for your grades to show up at the end of the semester, and you think you're going to get a low C in English, think how much better it is when that low B comes dancing in the house. If you think the vacation time with your family is going to be full of frustration and fighting 100% of the time, and all you will be doing is wishing you were with your friends, but then it turns out the fighting and frustration is only 30% of the time, then you're pleasantly surprised at how enjoyable the time with your family turned out to be. Will they say yes if I ask them out? I'm prepared for a no. Will I make the team? Probably not, but I'm looking forward to being the team manager. Will I live a long life and be incredibly wealthy? I'm guessing climate change will take care of that before I'm 30. See how great it is to not expect too much? Even if you don't realize it, I bet you do the same thing I do in some areas of your life. Maybe you're a total optimist when it comes to your dating life. You're sure that everyone loves you. Or maybe you're super confident in your athletic ability. I mean, there's no question that you'll make the varsity team as a freshman. But when it comes to areas of faith, I bet you, like a lot of us, keep your expectations low. We might pray, but rarely do we think God will do exactly what we're asking for. We would say we have faith, but the truth is, we're just not sure God is going to show up and act the way we think he should. Because God never seems to do what we expect him to do. And when that happens over and over and over, eventually it just becomes easier to stop expecting so much. And what does it look like to lower our expectations for God? We stop praying. Because we believe God either can't or he won't do anything. We lose interest in anything faith-related because God seems distant, far away, and uncaring. We think God is weak, unable to do anything big or powerful. We think God is uninterested. He doesn't know or care anything about our lives, so why bother telling him about it or expecting him to do anything in our lives? We don't always do it on purpose. We usually just kind of become this way. And then, if God does answer our prayer, if he does show up, if he does do what we ask him to do, great, it's a pleasant surprise. But set out with expectations that he'll do all of that or it'll happen the way we think, big mistake. I don't know about you, but that kind of God doesn't sound like something to celebrate at Christmas. But what if we got him all wrong? What if we were missing the point and there was a better way, a more true way, a healthier way to see God that, if we really understood, would actually make this the best Christmas ever? So what's the point? What is good really like? The good news is, we aren't the first one to have expectations of God and have him not meet them. In fact, the Christmas story, the story we're celebrating for the next couple weeks, didn't happen at all like people expected. That may sound strange to say because the story may be familiar to us, so many imagine it going any different would be weird. But the truth is, no way 2,000 years ago were they imagining God sending his son the way he did. But before we go any further, let's get a refresher on the details of the Christmas story itself. Mary, the mother of Jesus, was a young, pregnant, Jewish teenager, not yet married. She and Joseph, the man she was engaged to be married to, did not have a lot of money and were living in a land occupied by the Roman Empire. And at the start of the story, the Roman government has decided they want to have a count of all the people they're ruling. So every family was told to go to the town where they were originally from to be counted. So Mary, super pregnant, has to get on a donkey and make a hot and dry and miserable trip to get to the town where Joseph's family came from. Sounds awful, right? But don't worry, that's not all. Once they get to Bethlehem, their destination, all the hotels are full. And Joseph forgot to book an Airbnb or get on Hotel.com, and now? Mary isn't just super pregnant and tired and uncomfortable. Now she's also got nowhere to sleep. And then, just because there wasn't enough going wrong already, Mary goes into labor. As in, the baby is coming. Here. Now. Far away from their home, with no bed to sleep in or have a baby in. Now, I know things were different 2,000 years ago. I know there was a different culture for that time and place, but I can promise you this. It doesn't matter what culture you're from or what time you're living in, this situation is less than ideal. Actually, it stinks. And it literally stinks because in Joseph's desperation to find a place for Mary to have this baby, the only thing he could find was a barn with barn animals and the smell that comes with those animals. And that's where they ended up. That's where Mary had her first child. Away from her family, away from her home, away from anything comfortable. She had her baby, just her and Joseph, completely alone. And no one expected it. In fact, if I had been Mary or Joseph, I would have been much more likely to think God is distant. God is mad at us. God has forgotten us. God is punishing us. God has abandoned us. God is silent. Because if God doesn't do what we think he should, if God doesn't behave like we expect him to, then it makes sense to assume we've done something wrong or God isn't what we thought. In fact, chances are there were a lot of people who already thought those things about God long before he sent his son to be born in a barn, because for hundreds of years he had been silent. There were no prophets with messages from God to hear. There was no sign of being freed from the empire that ruled them. There was no indication God even cared about them anymore, let alone that he was doing anything. But all appearances, considering expectations and considering reality, God was nowhere to be found. Because there was a very specific idea of what they expected God to be like. They thought God was powerful, like a military leader taking the land back. God was obvious, showing up in a palace or in a wealthy family. They thought God was predictable, doing what the people wanted if they followed the rules. They thought God was exactly like they expected him to be, arriving like they thought and with the messages that they wanted to hear. But for all the expectations they had of God, it turns out they missed the one that mattered the most. It wasn't that God had let them down, which would have made him undependable or weak or not worth following. It was that they missed who he really was and expected something completely different than who God had always been. And who was God? What was God like? Well, an angel showed up to tell Joseph exactly what God was like, exactly what God was going to be like when he arrived. The angel said this: "She will give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins." All this took place to fulfill what the Lord had said through the prophet. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, which means God with us. He was Emmanuel. He was God with them. He is not a God of reward and punishment. He is a God of presence. He is a God who is near. He is a God who comes alongside. He is a God who never leaves. He is a God who is with us. They expected warrior, ruler, punisher of enemies, king, someone to take charge, and they were disappointed because their expectations did not meet reality. But the truth is, they got something far better. They got a God who was with them, not in a palace, but in a barn. Meaning, he wasn't an out-of-reach ruler, He was an accessible and reachable God. God with them was an idea they didn't expect, but it was an idea that changed everything. God with us means no matter what, we are never alone. No matter our behavior, no matter our good days or bad days, no matter our family situation or financial status, no matter what we've done that we are proud of or embarrassed of, God is with us. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. It started with Christmas, but it continues to be true because of Jesus' death on the cross, his resurrection, and his leaving the Holy Spirit to be with us forever. In other words, the Spirit of God lives in us as a reminder that we are never alone. When you think of God with us, it changes everything. It means no matter your reality, God is with you in it. Your family is dysfunctional. God is with you. Your dating life is non-existent. God is with you. You're failing geometry. God is with you. You didn't get the part you wanted in the play. God is with you. You're scared about what is happening in the world. God is with you. You are not in this alone. You aren't left to figure out life and the scary stuff and the annoying stuff and the stuff you worry about. You have God with you. Jesus changed the way we saw God. He gave us a new way to understand God and relate to him. In fact, in John chapter 8, verse 12, Jesus said this about himself: I am the light of the world. Light helps you see what you didn't see before, which is exactly what Jesus did for us with God. The light helps us know what to expect from God and who he is, and that is good news. You might be asking, so what? God is with me. What can I do with that? Well, for you, it might just mean one thing. Find one way this week to keep reminding yourself that God is with you. Maybe it's writing a note in your phone, asking a small group leader or trusted friend or adult to help remind you, or maybe you've known that God is with you. Try reminding someone else this week. Here's the thing. When you know God is with you and you know he's promised to never leave, it's far more difficult to be disappointed in God because that is a promise he will never break. Christmas is the best time to take a second look at the way we see God, ourselves, and the people around us, and to let Jesus shine a light on an amazing promise, because that is a promise he will never break. Christmas is the best time to take a second look at the way we see God, ourselves, and the people around us, and to let Jesus shine a light on an amazing promise, that the God of the universe came down to earth to show you that he loves you, to show you that he cares about you, and to show you that he is with you.
Well, that was a message that I needed to hear, that God is with us. He's with me, that he's with you, that in the end of a year that's felt so chaotic and strange and honestly lonely at times, God is with us. And when it comes to celebrating Christmas, we put aside all of the decorations and the gifts. The true meaning and thing that we can celebrate during this time is God with us. Yeah, as you head into this month leading up to Christmas, I pray that you would remember the true reasons of why we celebrate. And as decorations go up and as gifts pile up underneath the tree, all of those would point us to the God who is with us. Well, I love all of you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a fantastic week. Remember to stay close to Jesus this week. Follow him in everything you do. And remember, God is with us always. All right. Bye, buddies.